Every woman, no matter how confident, strong, or independent she appears to be, carries a deep and often unspoken craving, the need to feel emotionally validated. This is not about compliments or flattery. It is about truly being seen and understood for who she is beneath the layers she shows to the world. Women are naturally wired for connection and emotional depth. When a man takes the time to not just hear her words, but to listen to the feelings, fears, and dreams behind them, he taps into a part of her soul that very few people ever reach. Many women walk through life wearing emotional armor because they have been dismissed, judged, or silenced before. This makes emotional validation a rare and precious experience for her. When she feels genuinely understood, she begins to feel safe enough to let down her guard. That safety becomes the foundation of trust, intimacy, and lasting attraction. It is the moment when a woman thinks, "This man truly gets me." Emotional validation goes beyond simply nodding along or saying, "I understand." It requires a man to pay attention to her tone, her body language, and the emotions between her words. Most men make the mistake of jumping into problem-solving mode the moment a woman shares her struggles. While this comes from a place of care, it often leaves her feeling unheard because she isn't always looking for a solution. She's looking for someone to sit with her in her feelings. When a woman says she's tired, it might not just mean physical exhaustion. It could mean she feels unappreciated, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. The man who recognizes this unspoken layer and responds with empathy instead of quick fixes immediately stands out. He becomes the safe space where she can be vulnerable without fear of judgment. This is the kind of connection that turns ordinary conversations into powerful bonding experiences that she remembers long after they happen. In a world where women are constantly told to be strong, independent, and self-sufficient, the need for emotional validation becomes even more significant. Society praises women for their resilience, but rarely gives them permission to be soft, uncertain, or broken. As a result, many women suppress their true feelings, fearing they'll be seen as weak or overly sensitive. When a man enters her life and allows her to express herself freely, it feels like a breath of fresh air. He gives her what the world has denied her, acceptance without conditions. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says, but rather acknowledging that her feelings are real and valid. Even when he disagrees, he can say, "I see why you feel that way," instead of dismissing or criticizing her emotions. That small shift in response can completely transform the dynamic between them. It tells her that her inner world matters and that she is safe to share it. The hunger for emotional validation often runs deeper than most men realize because it connects to a woman's earliest experiences of love and care. Many women grew up in environments where their emotions were misunderstood or minimized. Maybe they were told to stop crying, to toughen up, or to be the good girl who doesn't cause problems. Over time, they learned to hide parts of themselves to earn approval. As adults, they continue to crave the acceptance they didn't receive as children. When a man listens without judgment and validates her feelings, it heals those old wounds in a way that feels almost magical. She begins to associate him with safety and unconditional love. This is why emotional validation is not just a kindness. It is a powerful tool for deepening emotional intimacy. The man who understands this becomes unforgettable in her mind because he touches a part of her that very few people have ever reached. Some men fear that focusing on a woman's emotions will make them seem weak or submissive, but the opposite is true. Emotional validation requires strength, presence, and maturity. It takes courage to sit with someone's pain without trying to fix it or make it go away. A man who can hold that space shows her that he is emotionally secure and confident. This doesn't mean he sacrifices his own boundaries or opinions. In fact, a healthy balance of empathy and self-assurance is what makes emotional validation so powerful. She needs to know that he can handle her storms without being swept away by them. When she sees that he can remain calm and grounded even when she's emotional, she begins to trust him on a deeper level. That trust naturally leads to respect and admiration, which are essential ingredients in lasting love and attraction. Practical expressions of emotional validation can be simple but deeply impactful. When she shares her feelings, give her your full attention, put down the phone, make eye contact, and listen with genuine curiosity. Instead of rushing to give advice, reflect back what you hear. For example, if she says she's upset about work, you might respond, "It sounds like you're feeling really overwhelmed and unappreciated right now." These small statements show her that you are tuned into her emotional reality. Even physical gestures, like holding her hand or offering a comforting hug, can speak volumes. The key is to meet her where she is emotionally rather than where you think she should be. This kind of attunement creates a powerful bond because it tells her, "You are safe with me, just as you are." When a woman doesn't receive emotional validation, the effects can be destructive. She may feel isolated, unloved, or invisible, even in a relationship. This often leads to resentment, conflict, and emotional withdrawal. Over time, she may start seeking validation elsewhere, whether through friends, family, or even other romantic interests. Many men lose relationships not because they were unfaithful or unkind, but because they failed to meet this fundamental emotional need. By contrast, when a man consistently provides emotional validation, he becomes the person she turns to first in times of joy or pain. She begins to see him as her emotional anchor, someone who understands her like no one else. This level of connection is rare and precious, and it creates a bond that is incredibly difficult to break. It's important to remember that emotional validation is not about manipulation or control. It's about creating an environment where both partners feel valued and understood. When a woman feels emotionally validated, she naturally becomes more open, affectionate, and loyal. Her guard comes down, and she feels free to express her love fully. This benefits the relationship as a whole because it fosters mutual trust and intimacy. A man who learns this skill is not only meeting her needs, but also elevating the entire relationship. He sets a standard for communication and connection that both partners can grow from. This is why emotional validation is one of the most powerful forms of leadership a man can practice in his relationship. Women may not always verbalize their need for emotional validation, but they feel its absence deeply. They notice when their emotions are dismissed, minimized, or ignored. On the other hand, they remember vividly the moments when someone truly saw them. These are the memories that stay with them long after the words have faded. A woman who feels emotionally validated will stand by a man through challenges, forgive his mistakes more readily, and invest fully in the relationship. This is not because she is weak, but because her most basic emotional need is being met. When a man understands this, he stops trying to impress her with surface-level gestures and begins to connect with her on a soul, deep level. That is the kind of love and understanding that every woman craves but few ever experience. One of the deepest and most unspoken desires within a woman is the need for security. This is not simply about money or physical safety, but a profound sense of stability that touches every area of her emotional and psychological world. A woman's heart is wired to seek a safe space where she can rest, trust, and fully be herself without fear of abandonment or chaos. In a world that constantly pushes her to be independent and strong, there is still a part of her that longs to lean on someone who is consistent and dependable. This longing for security isn't about weakness, it's about biology and evolution. For centuries, survival depended on having a stable and protective partner. While modern times have changed, the emotional imprint remains. When a man provides true security, he meets a deep, primal need that no amount of material wealth can replace. This is why women often feel deeply drawn to men who embody stability and leadership in their lives. Many men misunderstand what it really means to provide security. They think buying gifts, paying bills, or showing off material success is enough. While financial stability plays a role, it is only a small piece of the puzzle. True security goes far beyond money. It is about emotional consistency, reliability, and a sense of safety in the relationship. A woman feels secure when she knows her partner will not suddenly disappear, change his feelings overnight, or leave her questioning where she stands. When his actions align with his words, and when he shows up even in difficult moments, she feels grounded. This type of security is built through trust over time. It cannot be rushed or faked, because a woman's intuition will always sense when a man's stability is fragile or performative. Real security comes from a man who is anchored in himself and his values. Security also means providing a safe emotional environment where a woman feels protected, not just physically, but emotionally. Women carry countless pressures from work, family, and societal expectations. Many of them walk through life constantly in fight or flight mode, navigating challenges that leave them mentally and emotionally drained. When a man can be her calm in the storm, she experiences a rare form of peace. This doesn't mean he has to solve all her problems or carry her burdens. It means that when she comes to him with her fears, worries, or struggles, he doesn't make her feel small for having them. Instead, he offers a steady presence that says, "You are safe here. You are not alone." That kind of emotional shelter is priceless, and it creates a bond that feels unshakable. For many women, security is also tied to a man's sense of direction and leadership. A man who knows who he is, where he's going, and what he stands for creates a natural sense of stability. Women are naturally drawn to certainty because it contrasts with the uncertainty and chaos of life. If a man is constantly unsure, inconsistent, or easily swayed, she will feel anxious and unsettled around him. On the other hand, when he has vision, purpose, and clarity, she feels she can relax into her feminine energy and trust his guidance. This doesn't mean she wants to be controlled or dominated. Rather, she wants to know that when life gets difficult, he won't collapse under pressure. His strength gives her permission to be soft, knowing that he can hold the weight of challenges without losing himself. This dynamic creates balance and harmony in the relationship. The absence of security can be incredibly painful for a woman. When she feels she cannot trust a man to be consistent, she becomes guarded and defensive. She may start questioning his intentions, doubting his words, and even pulling away emotionally to protect herself. This creates a cycle of instability that erodes the relationship over time. In many cases, a woman's anxiety or neediness is simply a response to the lack of security she feels. Men often misinterpret this as her being too demanding or overly emotional, but it is actually her nervous system reacting to uncertainty. When a man steps up and provides consistent reassurance through his actions, that anxiety naturally begins to fade. She doesn't have to keep asking where she stands because his behavior makes it clear. Providing security also requires a man to be dependable in his communication. One of the fastest ways to destroy a woman's sense of safety is through mixed signals or inconsistency. If one day he is affectionate and attentive, and the next day cold and distant, she will never feel secure. A woman's mind will constantly race, trying to decode his behavior and figure out what went wrong. Over time, this uncertainty becomes exhausting and emotionally damaging. By contrast, a man who communicates openly and honestly builds a strong foundation of trust. Even when he has bad news or difficult truths to share, he does so with transparency and respect. This allows her to relax, knowing she doesn't have to guess his feelings or intentions. Clarity is one of the greatest gifts a man can give to a woman who longs for security. It's important to note that security doesn't mean perfection. A man doesn't have to be flawless to make a woman feel safe. What matters most is his willingness to take responsibility, own his mistakes, and remain steady even when things go wrong. Women deeply respect men who admit their faults without becoming defensive or dismissive. This kind of maturity shows her that he is emotionally grounded and capable of handling the ups and downs of life. It tells her that he won't run away at the first sign of trouble. When she sees that he can weather storms with integrity, her trust in him grows stronger. Over time, this creates a powerful emotional bond that feels almost unbreakable. Security also comes from the way a man shows up for a woman consistently. Grand gestures are nice, but they are not a substitute for everyday reliability. A woman feels secure when she knows that he will call when he says he will, show up when he promises to, and follow through on his commitments. These small acts of reliability build trust brick by brick, forming the foundation of a stable relationship. When she sees that his words and actions align, her heart begins to relax. She no longer feels the need to constantly be on guard or question his motives. Instead, she can focus on building a deeper connection because the fear of instability has been removed. This kind of emotional safety allows love to grow naturally and freely. When a woman finds security with a man, she begins to flourish. She becomes softer, more affectionate, and more open because she no longer has to waste energy protecting herself. Her feminine energy shines when she feels safe to be vulnerable. This transformation is not just beneficial for her, but for the relationship as a whole. A secure woman brings joy, creativity, and passion to her partnership. She is more forgiving, more loyal, and more invested because her deepest emotional need is being met. The man who provides this kind of stability becomes irreplaceable in her eyes. He is no longer just a partner. He becomes her safe haven, her rock, and her greatest source of peace. This is the kind of bond that many men dream of but few ever achieve because they underestimate the power of true emotional and psychological security. One of the most fascinating truths about attraction is that women are deeply drawn to mystery. Curiosity is one of a woman's most powerful emotional triggers, and when a man understands how to embody this, he unlocks a natural magnetism that keeps her deeply engaged. When a man reveals everything about himself too quickly, he removes the sense of discovery that fuels her imagination. Women are naturally wired to explore, to piece together clues, and to feel excited about what lies just beyond their reach. Mystery is not about playing games or lying. It's about maintaining a rich inner world that she can slowly uncover over time. When a man lives with purpose, passion, and a life outside of the relationship, he automatically becomes more intriguing. A woman feels pulled toward him because she senses there are layers to his character she has not yet discovered. This intrigue keeps the connection fresh, exciting, and full of possibility. When a man has no mystery, a woman may initially feel comfortable, but over time, comfort without excitement turns into boredom. Women thrive on emotional stimulation, and mystery provides that spark. It engages her mind and heart simultaneously, making her think about him even when he's not around. This is why relationships often lose their passion when predictability takes over. If she already knows exactly what you'll say, do, and think in every situation, there's no room left for curiosity. Mystery challenges her in a way that makes her want to invest more deeply. It's the difference between reading a thrilling novel versus a book where the ending is obvious from the very first page. The thrill of the unknown keeps her emotionally invested and wanting more. Many men mistakenly equate mystery with withholding affection or being emotionally distant. But true mystery is not about coldness or manipulation. It's about having depth and self-respect. A man who is mysterious has a life that doesn't revolve entirely around the woman he loves. He has his own passions, goals, and friendships that give him a sense of identity outside of the relationship. This independence makes him more attractive because it shows her that he is whole on his own. She is drawn to him not because he needs her to complete him, but because he chooses to share his already rich life with her. This subtle distinction creates an air of intrigue that draws her in rather than pushing her away. Mystery also involves the way a man communicates. When he shares everything about himself too quickly, he leaves no room for curiosity. But when he reveals his thoughts and stories slowly, piece by piece, she feels like she is on a journey of discovery. This gradual unfolding creates anticipation and emotional tension, both of which heighten attraction. For example, instead of oversharing every detail of his past, a mysterious man might tell her just enough to spark her interest, leaving her eager to learn more later. This approach doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being intentional about what you share and when, so that the relationship continues to feel dynamic and alive. A key aspect of mystery is unpredictability. When a man behaves in completely predictable ways, a woman stops feeling excited because there are no surprises left. This doesn't mean being erratic or unreliable, but rather introducing small elements of unpredictability that keep her guessing in a positive way. It could be as simple as planning an unexpected date, trying something new together, or expressing affection in creative ways she didn't see coming. These small surprises create emotional spikes that strengthen her attraction. A mysterious man keeps her engaged because she never fully knows what's coming next, and that uncertainty fuels her desire to stay close to him. Psychologically, mystery works because it engages a woman's imagination. When there are gaps in what she knows about you, her mind naturally fills them with curiosity and wonder. This process is powerful because what she imagines is often even more compelling than reality. When a man maintains an element of mystery, she spends time thinking about him, daydreaming about who he is, and craving deeper connection. This constant mental engagement strengthens the emotional bond between them. By contrast, when a man is too transparent too quickly, there is no room left for her imagination to play, and the excitement fades prematurely. Mystery invites her to participate actively in the relationship by exploring and discovering over time. Mystery also creates respect. A man who doesn't immediately reveal everything about himself shows that he values himself and his personal boundaries. This signals to a woman that he is confident and self-assured. People tend to value what they must earn, and when a woman has to gradually work to understand a man, she naturally appreciates him more. This dynamic is healthy because it prevents the relationship from becoming one-sided or taken for granted. By maintaining mystery, a man ensures that she continues to see him as someone worth investing in, rather than someone who gave himself away too easily. Respect and attraction grow stronger when there is a balance of closeness and space. Another layer of mystery comes from how a man leaves his purpose. Women are deeply attracted to men who are driven by something bigger than themselves. When a man is passionate about his career, his dreams, or his personal growth, it adds depth to his character. She sees him as someone who is constantly evolving, and this evolution keeps her curious. A man without purpose becomes stagnant, and stagnation kills mystery. On the other hand, when he is always growing and striving for more, she feels inspired to grow alongside him. His journey becomes a story she wants to be part of, and she becomes emotionally invested in his unfolding future. The absence of mystery can lead to complacency and emotional disconnection. When a woman feels there is nothing new to discover, her desire begins to fade. This is why so many relationships lose their spark over time. It's not that love disappears, but that curiosity does. To keep passion alive, a man must continue cultivating his individuality and depth. This means never giving up his own interests, ambitions, and self-development. Even in a long-term relationship, mystery can be maintained by continuing to surprise her, challenge her, and invite her into new experiences. This ongoing growth ensures that she never feels like the relationship has reached its final chapter. A woman's attraction thrives on mystery because it mirrors the natural rhythm of desire. Desire is not built on certainty. It is built on a delicate balance of closeness and distance, knowing and wondering. When a man understands this, he stops trying to win her over with constant availability or over-explaining himself. Instead, he focuses on being a man of depth, purpose, and quiet confidence. She will sense his strength and be drawn to it, not because he is playing games, but because his life naturally contains layers that she wants to explore. In this way, mystery becomes not just a tactic, but a way of living that continuously fuels her passion and devotion. Deep within every woman, no matter how strong, independent, or accomplished she may seem, lies a quiet longing to release control and rest in the presence of a man who can lead emotionally. In today's world, women are encouraged to be self-sufficient, to make decisions, and to constantly stay in control of their lives. While this independence is powerful and necessary, it often comes with exhaustion and silent pressure. Many women carry the weight of their families, careers, and personal lives on their shoulders, and it becomes overwhelming. A woman's secret weakness is her desire to find a man who can provide stability and take on the role of emotional leadership. This does not mean controlling her or taking away her voice. It means offering her a sense of direction so she doesn't always have to be the one steering the ship. When a man provides this leadership with strength and kindness, she feels safe enough to relax into her feminine energy and simply be. Emotional leadership is about guidance, not domination. It's about creating an environment where she feels protected and understood, where her emotions are honored but not allowed to dictate the course of the relationship. Many men mistake leadership for control, believing that being forceful or rigid will earn a woman's respect. In reality, true leadership comes from calm confidence and clear boundaries. A man who leads emotionally knows how to navigate conflicts with grace, make decisions when she feels overwhelmed, and stand firm even when she is emotional or uncertain. This kind of leadership brings her relief because it shows her that she doesn't have to carry the entire burden of decision-making alone. She can lean on him, knowing that he has the strength to hold steady even when storms arise. This balance creates harmony between their energies and deepens their emotional connection. When a woman doesn't feel emotionally led, she often finds herself stepping into a role she doesn't truly want. She becomes overly responsible for the relationship, making all the plans, solving every problem, and trying to manage his emotions as well as her own. Over time, this leads to frustration and resentment. She may even start to lose respect for him because she doesn't feel like she can trust his leadership. This is why so many women appear controlling or bossy in relationship. It's not because they want to be, but because they don't feel safe enough to surrender. Deep down, she longs to meet a man who makes her feel like she can finally let go of control without fear of everything falling apart. When he shows consistent emotional leadership, her guard comes down naturally, and she becomes softer, more affectionate, and more open to intimacy. Emotional leadership also requires a man to be deeply grounded in himself. A woman cannot feel safe leaning on someone who is easily swayed by his emotions, external opinions, or life's challenges. She needs to see that he is stable and consistent, someone who can remain calm even when she is upset or uncertain. This does not mean he hides his feelings or pretends to be emotionless. Instead, it means he processes his emotions with maturity and responds thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. When a man can hold steady in this way, he becomes her rock in a chaotic world. She knows that no matter what happens, he won't crumble under pressure. This sense of security allows her to fully trust him, which is essential for deep love and connection to grow. A key part of emotional leadership is setting healthy boundaries. Women feel safe with men who are clear about what they will and will not tolerate, not in a harsh or controlling way, but in a way that shows self-respect and care for the relationship. Boundaries create structure, and structure creates safety. Without them, chaos and resentment take over. When a man communicates his boundaries clearly, he teaches her that their relationship has a strong foundation. For example, if she is upset and lashes out verbally, an emotionally strong leader doesn't retaliate or withdraw. Instead, he calmly says, "I want to understand you, but I won't continue this conversation if we're yelling." This shows her that he values her feelings while also protecting the integrity of their connection. Over time, this kind of consistent leadership builds mutual respect and trust. Women are naturally emotional beings, and their moods can shift quickly based on stress, hormones, or life circumstances. A man who understands this doesn't take her emotions personally or become reactive himself. Instead, he stays steady and provides perspective. When she feels like her world is spinning, his calm presence helps her feel grounded again. This doesn't mean dismissing her feelings or telling her to calm down. It means validating her emotions while also guiding her back to clarity. For example, when she is overwhelmed, he might say, "I see that you're feeling really stressed right now. Let's take a step back and figure this out together." This combination of empathy and leadership allows her to feel supported without feeling smothered. It shows her that he can handle her at her worst without losing himself in the process. When a man steps into emotional leadership, he also inspires growth in the woman he loves. By being stable and decisive, he encourages her to trust her own feminine energy more fully. She no longer has to live in constant defense mode, always preparing for the worst. Instead, she can focus on nurturing the relationship and exploring her softer, more vulnerable side. This creates a beautiful dynamic where both partners bring their natural strengths to the table. He provides direction and stability, while she offers emotional depth and intuition. Together, they form a powerful partnership that feels balanced and harmonious. This is the kind of connection that lasts because it honors the true nature of both individuals. It's important to note that emotional leadership is not about always being right or never making mistakes. In fact, part of leadership is the willingness to admit when you're wrong and take responsibility for your actions. Women deeply respect men who can own their mistakes without becoming defensive or blaming others. This kind of accountability shows her that he has the maturity to grow and evolve. It also gives her permission to be vulnerable herself, knowing that the relationship is a safe space for honesty and growth. A man who combines strength with humility creates a dynamic where trust and intimacy can flourish over time. In the absence of emotional leadership, relationships often fall into cycles of conflict and instability. Without clear guidance, both partners may feel lost, leading to power struggles and constant misunderstandings. A woman who doesn't feel led will eventually become emotionally exhausted, and her attraction will begin to fade. She may stay physically present in the relationship, but mentally check out, leaving the connection hollow and unfulfilling. By contrast, when a man embraces his role as an emotional leader, he creates a relationship where love feels secure and exciting. She feels cherished, protected, and deeply connected to him, not because he controls her, but because he guides her with strength and compassion. This balance of power and care is what every woman secretly craves, even if she never says it out loud. When a woman finds herself with a man who leads emotionally, she experiences a transformation that impacts every area of her life. She becomes more confident, more expressive, and more at peace because she finally feels like she doesn't have to carry everything alone. This is why emotional leadership is such a profound gift. It allows a woman to step fully into her natural energy while deepening the bond between partners. The man who provides this doesn't just earn her love, he earns her unwavering trust, respect, and devotion. This is the kind of connection that withstands challenges and grows stronger with time, creating a love story built on mutual strength and emotional harmony. At the core of every woman's heart lies a longing that she may never openly express, the deep desire to feel chosen. No matter how confident, successful, or independent she appears to the world, there is often a quiet fear beneath the surface, the fear of being overlooked, replaced, or not truly valued by the man she loves. This is not about insecurity alone. It is rooted in biology and the natural human need to feel significant to someone we care about deeply. A woman wants to know that out of all the options, out of all the distractions in the world, you see her as unique and irreplaceable. This need to be chosen goes beyond words and romantic gestures. It is about consistent action and presence, showing her that she holds a special place in your life that no one else can fill. When a woman feels genuinely chosen, her heart opens fully and her love deepens in a way that transforms the entire relationship. The absence of this feeling can be devastating. When a woman senses that she is just an option or a backup plan, her entire sense of safety within the relationship begins to crumble. She may start questioning her worth, wondering if she is enough, or comparing herself to others. This inner turmoil creates anxiety and mistrust, leading to conflict and emotional distance. Many women won't verbalize this struggle because they fear appearing needy or overly sensitive, but inside they are desperate for clarity. A man who fails to make his woman feel chosen may find her withdrawing emotionally, even if she stays physically present. Over time, this disconnect grows, and the relationship begins to wither. The truth is, a woman does not need perfection or constant reassurance. She simply needs to know, without a doubt, that she is a priority in your heart and life. Being chosen is not about grand declarations or dramatic displays of love. It is built through small, consistent actions that show her she matters. When you make time for her even in your busiest seasons, when you remember the details of what she shares, when you show up when she needs you most, you are silently communicating, "You are important to me." Women notice these small patterns deeply because they reveal where a man's heart truly lies. Words can be deceiving, but actions rarely lie. A woman who sees that you consistently prioritize her will feel safe enough to invest fully in the relationship. On the other hand, if she constantly feels like she has to compete for your attention, with work, friends, or other distractions, her trust begins to erode. She starts to feel invisible, and her natural response is to protect herself by pulling back emotionally. The desire to be chosen is tied to a woman's feminine energy and her natural need for emotional security. Feminine energy thrives when it feels cherished and valued. When a woman knows she is chosen, she blossoms. She becomes more loving, nurturing, and expressive because her heart feels safe. This is why some women seem to change in relationships depending on how their partner treats them. A woman who feels overlooked may appear cold or guarded, but when she feels seen and valued, her warmth and passion come to life. This transformation isn't about her changing who she is. It's about her finally feeling free to be her authentic self. A man who understands this dynamic holds the key to unlocking her deepest love and devotion. One of the most damaging mistakes men make is taking a woman's presence for granted. Just because she stays doesn't mean she feels chosen. Some women remain in relationships even when they feel unappreciated, but inside their love is slowly dying. Over time, this leads to resentment and emotional disconnection. A man who assumes she just knows how he feels is setting the relationship up for failure. Love must be demonstrated regularly, not assumed. Even the most independent woman wants to hear and see that she matters. This does not mean constant flattery or over-the-top gestures. It means being intentional, letting her know through both words and actions that you see her, value her, and would choose her again and again, even if you had to start over. Jealousy often stems from this very need to feel chosen. When a woman feels secure in her partner's love, jealousy naturally fades. But when she senses uncertainty, even small interactions can trigger deep fears of being replaced. This is why transparency and consistency are so important. If a man's behavior leaves her guessing or feeling unsure, her mind will fill in the blanks with worry. Over time, this creates unnecessary conflict and mistrust. By making her feel chosen, a man eliminates much of this tension. She no longer feels the need to constantly seek reassurance because his behavior provides it consistently. This stability allows both partners to focus on deepening their connection rather than constantly repairing it. For a woman to feel truly chosen, a man must also choose her in moments of conflict and challenge. It's easy to express love when everything is going smoothly, but the real test comes when tensions rise. Does he stand by her, fight for the relationship, and seek resolution? Or does he retreat, shut down, or look elsewhere for comfort? Women remember how a man treats them during difficult times. Choosing her means being willing to do the hard work of communication, compromise, and growth. It shows her that the relationship is not disposable and that she is worth fighting for. This kind of loyalty creates a powerful bond that deepens with every challenge overcome together. The feeling of being chosen also extends to how a man interacts with the outside world. When he speaks about her with pride, introduces her confidently to his friends and family, and includes her in his future plans, she feels secure in her place in his life. Public acknowledgement is not about showing off, it's about demonstrating that he is proud of his commitment. A woman who is kept hidden or treated like a secret will eventually question her value. By openly honoring her, a man sends the message that he is fully invested. This external validation reinforces the internal sense of being chosen, creating harmony between her private and public experiences of the relationship. It's important to understand that choosing a woman doesn't mean losing yourself or abandoning your independence. In fact, the most powerful way to make her feel chosen is to maintain your own sense of purpose and individuality while clearly prioritizing her. When a man has a strong identity, his choice carries more weight because it is made from a place of strength, not dependency. She feels secure knowing that he is with her not because he needs her to complete him, but because he genuinely values who she is. This kind of love is magnetic because it is rooted in freedom and intentionality. It tells her, I don't need you to make me whole, but I choose you because you are irreplaceable to me. When a woman feels genuinely chosen, she gives back tenfold. Her loyalty deepens, her affection grows, and her love becomes unwavering. She stops questioning the relationship and starts building a future with confidence and excitement. A woman who knows she is chosen will weather storms with her partner, forgive mistakes more easily, and remain devoted even in difficult times. This is the power of meeting her deepest unspoken need. It transforms love from something fragile and uncertain into something lasting and unbreakable. The man who understands this doesn't just win her heart, he earns her soul-level devotion, creating a love story built on mutual trust, respect, and the beautiful certainty of being truly chosen.